Hello and welcome to Air Force ROTC Detachment 250. We are an Air Force ROTC detachment located at Iowa State University, serving students attending Iowa State, DMAC, Drake, and Grandview. Today's brief is intended for anyone interested in Air Force ROTC, whether you're a high school student trying to figure out what you want to do during college, a college student has decided they want to do something more with their college and post-college careers, or military enlisted personnel who want to earn their degree and become a commissioned officer. We'll start today's brief by going over the eligibility requirements to join ROTC. Then we'll dig a little bit more into the program, what 4 years in our program looks like, some scholarship opportunities, commitments to the Air Force, and some of the opportunities and benefits of being a commissioned officer in the Air Force. Starting with eligibility criteria, first you must be a U.S. citizen. We'll go through a medical vetting process to make sure you're qualified to serve. If you're coming right out of high school, meeting the 3-year full-time college remaining requirement shouldn't be a problem. But if you're transferring in either from another university or you already have college credit hours when you join ROTC, you need to have at least 3 years of full-time college remaining. You need to graduate before you turn 30. You need to have no major civil involvements on your personal record. There are minimum and maximum height weight standards. And for current ISU students or for transfer students, you need to have at least a 2.0 GPA to be eligible for ROTC, and then a 2.5 to be eligible for field training. As a caveat for all of this information, you can find more information about the eligibility requirements and a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about as we go through the rest of this brief at our website at www.afrotc.com. So really, what is Air Force ROTC all about? The main purpose of ROTC is to train, evaluate, and develop college students to become active duty commissioned officers in the United States Air Force. Your job, first and foremost, is to be an officer and a leader. This is different from a lot of civilian career fields because a lot of what you do in your civilian training is to become an engineer, to become a doctor, to become a teacher, and you'll do those things. You will have a certain career field in the Air Force, but your primary job and regardless of your career field, every single job, you will be focused on being an officer and a leader. That's really one of the main ways that ROTC and being an officer in the military is a completely different lifestyle. Your main job on a day-to-day basis, the types of things that you're going to be doing, will involve certain career field specialties and trainings to go along with that. But at the end of the day, you're an officer, and there's sacrifices associated with that. Of course, in order to become a commissioned officer, there's 3 different ways to do that, and it's important to delineate the difference between becoming a commissioned officer and enlisting. If you want to enlist, you can do that right out of high school. You don't need a bachelor's degree. There's different training requirements, different career paths as well. But in order to become a commissioned officer, there's 2 basic prerequisites. One is completing a bachelor's degree, and the other is going through a competitively selective training and evaluation program. With the Air Force, there's 3 different ways to do that. There's ROTC, OTS, or Officer Training School, and the Air Force Academy. What really differentiates ROTC from the other 2 is you are concurrently a college student, a full-time college student, and you're doing your training part-time. With OTS, you've already completed your degree, and now you're doing full-time military training to catch up. And with the Air Force Academy, it's 4 years of full-time student, full-time cadet. And so as a member of ROTC, you're participating in ROTC much like you would another student organization on campus. You still have the freedom to go work during the summers. You can participate in other organizations on campus. You just need to meet the requirements of Air Force ROTC while you're participating in our program. It's kind of a snapshot of what 4 years in our program looks like. It's really divided up into 2 main parts: the general military course and the professional officer course. During the GMC, your main job as a cadet is going to be learning what ROTC is all about, learning what the military is about, asking questions, and making sure that this is really the right fit for you. And so we call it kind of a 2-sided evaluation system. On the one hand, you're evaluating the program to see if this is something that you want to do. Is this officer career something that you're interested in? And on the other side, we're also evaluating you to see what your career potential is and if you have the capacity to be a leader. And so really you're spending those first 2 years trying to figure that out so that once you're at the end of your sophomore year, you can attend field training. So a little orange diamond FT is field training, and it's sort of the miniature officers boot camp. Where instead of just being around Iowa State students, you're going to go to Maxwell Air Force Base for a month and train with other cadets from around the country in a more high-tempo, high-pace environment where you're honing and applying the skills that you've learned over the first couple years in that high-pace setting and being evaluated in those capacities as a leader. Once you return from field training, when you join the professional officer course, that's when you get your formal leadership positions within the cadet wing. A lot of the activities that we do in ROTC are cadet run. And really it's an opportunity for you to learn and grow as a leader in this safer, more benign training environment before we send you as an officer on active duty to go be in charge of a few dozen airmen or a multi-million-dollar aircraft or a big program. This is the opportunity to grow and learn. And so each semester you're going to hold a different position in the POC. And those will be your chances to figure out who you are as a leader and how you lead before you get on active duty. To break that down a little bit further, this kind of highlights the time requirements and what each of the things that you'll be doing as a cadet during those 4 years. The first couple years, again, as I said before, your job is to attend, to participate, to ask questions, to be an active participant in the program, to really figure out if this is the right thing for you before you go to field training. Once you return from field training, not only are you attending things now, but you are also leading. You are, as the leaders in those various capacities, your job is to plan, prepare, and execute the various activities that we're doing. The cadre will give you objectives, the requirements that need to be met, and you will take those and turn those into the events and the activities that are being run for the cadet wing on a day-to-day basis. In accordance with that, you're going to have a little bit more time commitment your junior and senior year, because instead of just participating, you're the ones getting ready for those sorts of things. As you go to sign up for classes, registering, there are actual classes that you sign up for as part of ROTC. They're sort of broken down into 3 basic activities: your academics, your academic classes, and your leadership lab, and your physical training. The academic classes are broken down on a semester by semester basis, and they sort of fall into 4 different categories as you go through the program. Your freshman year, your AS100 year, revolves around an introduction to the Air Force. So this really digs into just getting everybody on the same playing field with regard to what is the military all about, what's the Air Force all about, what does it mean to be a leader, what does it mean to be an officer, so that at the end of the year, going into your sophomore year, you can make a more informed decision on if this is the right thing for you, if this is something that you want to continue doing throughout the rest of your college career and then going on to active duty after you graduate. Your sophomore year looks at an extended history of the Air Force, how we got started, the things we're doing today, the things we might be doing in the future. And then once you return from field training, and now that you have this leadership position within the cadet wing, we're going to dig into the leadership and management principles, things that you can learn theories of in class one day and apply to your leadership position the very next day in the cadet wing. Your senior year, we'll look at cultures around the world, how we deal with them as the Air Force, and then your final semester, active duty prep, what does it look like to be a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force on a day-to-day basis, and how do you survive active duty life? Leadership lab is our activities-based portion, and it's really the practical application of the things that we're teaching in class, or in many cases, some of the things that don't make sense to be taught in an academic setting. So that's where we're going to do more of your drill and ceremonies, your marching, your water survival, your group leadership exercises, those sorts of things. You don't really do it in a classroom, so that's where we do it in lead lab. And then we have physical training, or PT, which meets a couple times a week. Going a little bit further into PT, in addition to just attending physical training sessions, you'll also participate in a physical fitness test every semester. The test itself consists of a minute of push-ups, a minute of sit-ups, and a 1.5 mile run. You can see the men's, or just what it takes to pass the test for the males and females, and also the max, which will give you the maximum allowable points for those specific activities. What we encourage our cadets to do is to not just look at the minimums and push for the minimums. We expect our officers, as this is the same test that's going to be administered on active duty, we expect our officers to set the standard. And that starts by creating good habits and doing well in physical training as a cadet. A few other considerations being in the program. If you want to live on campus, if you want to live around other ROTC cadets, all you need to do is talk to Residence Life and request to join an Air Force ROTC learning community. This isn't something that the cadre or the program tracks. It's really an opportunity for you as a cadet to live with and near other cadets who are participating in the same program you are. It's great accountability when you have to wake up early to go to PT and go to lead lab, and it's a really great opportunity to hang out with these people that you spend a lot of time with outside of an ROTC setting. Any uniforms that you need to wear for PT and lead lab will be issued to you. Your summers, as I sort of mentioned earlier, your summers are yours for the most part, with the exception of field training. After your sophomore year, you can do whatever you want with your summers. So that includes if you want to go do an internship, if you want to take summer classes, if you want to learn more about the Air Force with your summer, there are opportunities to do those things, and there's lots more that aren't mentioned on this slide that you can participate just to learn more about what active duty Air Force life is like. For our high school seniors, we have a program called Fly with a Sigh. This is an opportunity for you to spend time with other cadets that are in ROTC currently and really just test drive the program, shadow them, see what day-to-day life is like as an Air Force ROTC cadet. We'll pair you up with a cadet ideally that has similar degree interest that you have. You'll go to lead lab with them, you'll go to the Air Force class with them, you'll go to a couple other classes with them and really just get a more in-depth tour of what the campus is like. If that's something that you're interested in doing, you can email us at airforce@iastate.edu. Looking into scholarships. So there's a couple different scholarship programs that we'll talk about here on this presentation. As we go through it, again, I'll push AFROTC.com as the real go-to for lots more details, and additionally, that's where you apply for your scholarships. The high school scholarship program is one of the two main programs that we have to receive a scholarship. Both the high school scholarship program and the in-college scholarship program are competitive scholarships, so they're not guaranteed, and you need to be not only meeting the minimums that we'll go through in a minute, but you also need to be competitive for those. Now, for the high school scholarship program, as you're going into your senior year, this is something you want to look at early. But if you're in the middle of your senior year, know that the application window is only open from the 1st of June to the 1st of December of your senior year. And so if you're applying after that, it's not the end of the world. There's plenty of opportunities in college, as we'll talk about in a minute. There's no cost to apply, and even if you get selected for a high school scholarship, there's no obligation to join or to serve in the military afterwards just by accepting the scholarship initially. So if you're on the fence about whether or not this is something that you might want to do, I encourage you to go ahead and apply for the scholarship because if you get offered one, now the ball is in your court to decide if that's something you want to continue with. High school scholarships themselves, there's 3 different types that you could be offered. A type 1 is a full scholarship regardless of where you're attending. Most of those scholarships go to folks who are going to more expensive private schools. Your type 2 is up to $18,000 regardless of where you're going, and most of those end up being offered to folks who are going to school out of state. And I say all that because most of the scholarships that are offered for the high school scholarship are the type 7 or the in-state, because most people are going to school in the state that they're resident in and going to public school. And so with the type 7 scholarship, it pays for all your tuition at the in-state rate and all the required fees. In addition, it'll pay you a $600 a year book allowance, and you'll get a monthly living stipend that goes up the longer you stay in the program. It won't cover all of your room and board costs and all of your food costs, but it will offset some of those as you go through. And they're offered as either 3 or 4 year scholarships. Now you can see the minimums there. You need to be able to meet all of these in order to be considered. So you need at least a 3.0 GPA, you need at least an 1180 on your SAT or a 26 on your ACT, and you need to pass the physical fitness test with at least a 75. If you meet all of those, then you become eligible. From there, you become more competitive the higher up above those minimums that you are. The final portion of the application process for the high school scholarship program is an interview, where you'll go into your nearest Air Force ROTC detachment and interview with the cadre there. That interview is going to focus more on leadership. What types of things have you been doing in high school that show that you have a desire, a propensity, a capacity to lead, and that Air Force ROTC is going to be a good fit for you. And so the high school scholarship program itself is designed to reward the folks who have been well-rounded all throughout high school academically, physically, and leadership-wise. And these are some good numbers to remember, as I said before, not just meeting the minimums, but doing better than the minimums. You can see there at a 67.5% selection rate for the 2016 High School Scholarship Board. There are plenty of scholarships available. Lots of people applied. Of those that applied, only about 2,100 were eligible. Of the 2,100 that were eligible, about 1,500 were offered a scholarship. So there's plenty of them out there, but again, they are competitive. You can see that the average GPA, the average ACT score, SAT score was above the minimum, and so you can take it as many times as you want to keep improving your scores. Even if you've already been accepted by the school that you want to get into, you can still continue to take the ACT or the SAT all the way up until your board meets, and then you can push that final score, and then the board will select based on that. The 4 different board dates are available here. This was for 2016. These change from year to year, so make sure you look at the AFROTC website and look at your scholarship application information to double check and make sure that these dates are accurate for the board that's meeting for you. If you don't get selected for the high school scholarship, or if the high school scholarship is not applicable to you because you're already in college or transferring, then you can become eligible for an in-college scholarship. Now, once you've been in our program for at least a semester, that's when you can become eligible for the in-college scholarship program. The pay for those is essentially the same as what's offered for the high school scholarship program. It'll pay up to all of your tuition. It'll give you the same book allowance. It'll give you the same living stipend. The only difference is you're getting it a year, a semester, maybe a year and a half later than the folks coming in on the high school scholarship program. Selection criteria is now based on your college GPA, your cumulative college GPA from every institution that you've attended. You can still use your ACT score, and so if you've come into college without a 26, you can continue to take the ACT, and we'll take the highest of whatever ACT score or SAT score that you've taken and send to us. Alternatively, you'll take something called the Air Force Officer Qualifying Test while you're here in the program, and if your score on the AFOQT is higher than what it was for the ACT or the SAT, then we'll use that instead. You'll take the physical fitness test while you're in the program, and we'll also look at your performance in Air Force ROTC. The scholarships themselves are broken up into about 3 different buckets by technical majors, foreign language, and non-technical majors. And so if you see the degree that you're interested in here, look for which bucket that would be selected for, because there are certain allocations of scholarships available for each of those types of majors. Now, your commitment. Once you've been in the program for all the way through field training, or once you accept a scholarship, that's when you're considered committed to Air Force ROTC. Most of the commitments are 4-year commitments. If you're joining a rated career field, your commitment's going to be a little bit longer, depending upon if you want to be a pilot, a combat systems officer, an air battle manager, or remotely piloted aircraft pilot, or RPA, or drone pilot. This is a quick snapshot of all the different career fields. If you want to see descriptions of each of these career fields, you can go to AFRTC.com and see a general idea of what they do. Here they're color-coded by the size of the career field. Large career fields, lots of people in them, are in green. Medium-sized career fields in blue, and small career fields with just a few people in them, they're in red. Most of the different career fields do not have prerequisite degree requirements, meaning you can major in whatever you want while you're here at Iowa State, DMAC, Drake, or Grandview, and join most of these career fields without any specific degree. There are exceptions for career fields like engineering, your medical career fields, weather, that sort of career fields, but most of them do not. Within engineering, you can specialize in your specific discipline of engineering while you're on active duty, or you can be what's called a developmental or general engineer, where you're doing more technical program management. This slide is geared more towards folks who are wanting to fly in the Air Force, but it's an important slide for anybody, regardless of your desire to fly or not. Reason being, you can see that the folks that were selected on the 2016 rated board, they had high GPAs and high physical fitness test scores, so that's out of 100%. And at a 72 or a 71.9% selection rate, kind of like the scholarships, there's plenty of opportunities out there, but you have to be competitive because there's not enough for everybody that applies. And you want to be doing well academically, physically, all across the board in order to get the things that you want. Some of the benefits of being an officer on active duty, guaranteed regardless of your career field, whatever you end up deciding to do, you're going to go through the paces pretty quick and you're going to advance in your career. As a leader, rather than just joining in as a technical expert and sitting in the same job for years and years, you're going to be rotating jobs every 2, 3, 4 years. Not career fields, but within your own career field, you're going to move to a different position, you're going to move to a different base, and there's going to be lots of opportunities to do something different, to see something different, and be around different people and experience different things. The way the retirement system currently works, if you've been in for 20 years, you'll receive 50% of your base pay from then on for the rest of your life as a pension. While you're on active duty, you're going to travel and see the world, not only just being stationed different places, but going what we call temporary duty, or TDY, whether it's for a training exercise, an event, a conference, different training opportunities. You'll be able to travel around all over the place. You'll also accumulate 30 days of leave every year as an officer. Other benefits, your medical and dental insurance will be provided to you at no cost. There is no premium, no deductible for you or your dependents, so that's your spouse, your children, no deductibles, out-of-pocket expenses for any of those. Each base is kind of its own self-functioning city, so there's lots of things available on base as would be available in a regular town, in addition to what's available in town, either usually at a cheaper rate or in some cases free. And this is a map of where all our different bases are around the country, and then over on the right hand side you can see where our bases are overseas. Each base has its own specific mission, so depending upon your career field, the job that you're doing, you may be eligible to be stationed at some of those different places. For example, if you're flying F-16s, there's only F-16s at certain bases, and so not all of the dots on the map here would be available to you. So a couple key takeaways. The purpose of what we're doing here is training you to be an officer, as a leader in the Air Force. We realize that and don't expect anybody to come in as a brand new cadet as a perfect leader. We don't even expect you to leave as a perfect leader. Come in realizing that leadership is a life skill. It's something that you're going to build and begin while you're here, and it's something that you're going to carry with you and continue to learn as you go through your active duty Air Force career. So we're not looking for perfection while you come through. What we're looking for are cadets that are going to take the opportunities that are given to them, run with them, and strive to improve themselves every day. You're going to build a lot of really cool relationships while you're here. You're going to see the same people that you interact with here in ROTC. You're going to see those same people on active duty, and you're going to really join a really cool network, really cool family of folks while you're on active duty. And at the end of the day, you're joining something that's bigger than yourself. Military service is not just a job. It's not just something that you do to pay the bills. You're joining an organization that has a long history of taking care of our country and sacrificial service in that capacity. And so realize that that's what you're getting into. We talked a lot about scholarships, whether it's the high school scholarship program or the in-college scholarship program. Know that a scholarship is not required to join Air Force ROTC or even to commission. If you want a scholarship and if you're eligible for a scholarship and are competitive, you have a much better chance of doing that if you continue on that competitive route, improving your grades, improving your physical fitness, improving your performance in ROTC, and just know that each semester that you improve yourself, you're making yourself more competitive for those scholarships. If you have any questions for me or for us here at Detachment 250, you can utilize this contact information and reach out to us at any time. We're happy to answer any questions you have about ROTC, about Air Force life, or whatever it may be. Thank you for your time and have a great day.